Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second aircraft layout for Arromanches, the only current French carrier in the game. She does have a pretty unique playstyle, especially with her torpedo bombers since they drop 2 torpedoes each, and she has her armor-piercing dive bombers, and her pretty decent fighters as well. They're Bearcats, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Bearcats. So they're pretty high tier. That being said, there are some limitations to this ship as well. She has no secondaries at all, and she is pretty slow, though she does get a speed boost to help mitigate that just a little bit. So the first time we reviewed the ship, we used the second layout, which has one fighter squadron of 5 aircraft, 2 torpedo bomber squadrons of 3 aircraft each, and 2 dive bomber squadrons of 4 aircraft each. And that's pretty impressive, at least offensive-wise. She doesn't have that many aircraft, only 48, but they do a lot of damage. Now, the other aircraft setup you can have is 2 fighter squadrons of 3 aircraft each. You keep the same number of torpedo bombers, but you are limited with dive bombers by only having 1 squadron of 5 aircraft. So if this one is more offensive, then this would mean that this one, or actually this one's more defensive, this one's more offensive. So you have more fighters here and more dive bombers here. That's pretty much the only difference. That being said, I would probably run with the more offensive layout because you don't have many aircraft, so you're going to want to do as much as you can with what little you have. So that's why I prefer the offensive layout. But if you prefer to have the defensive layout, you still have a pretty decent strike package. It's just not going to be as strong as what this one can provide. But you do get, actually you get only 1 fighter and you lose 3 dive bombers. So I really don't think this is worth it, but it does split it up into 2 squadrons of fighters. So we're going to try it. So let's toss it into a game and see how this air group works for us today. Alright, and here we ourselves a game. 1 carrier, obviously, 1 battleship, quite a few cruisers, and a few destroyers. So it looks like we're going to be focusing on cruisers for the most part because destroyers are hard to hit, and that 1 battleship, even though it does actually have some pretty decent AA and is quite fast as well, it should be able to be sunk relatively easily. Alright, so first let's start moving. I always get a kick out of this carrier because it has the pole at the stern for whatever reason. But it's like, how are the aircraft supposed to land through that pole? I'm not actually sure what that's supposed to be. I don't know enough about this carrier to have any historical knowledge about it, so that might actually just be how the ship was. I don't know. But I always get a kick out of that. Alright, so let's just get all of our aircraft out for right now and figure out what target we want to attack first. So Andre Doria has pretty okay-ish AA. I'm not too worried about it. Brooklyn, Miyako, Crash Bay, Pensacola, Fiji, Leningrad, and Akatsuki. Literally the only ship that could possibly take down my aircraft 1-on-1 would be the enemy carrier. Now, that doesn't mean that if all the enemy ships are combined together, I'm invulnerable. If they're all together, then I can still lose quite a few aircraft. So I do have to play a little bit smart if they start grouping up. But if I attack from the sides and start taking them out 1 by 1, then we should have no problem at all. And honestly, I could probably keep my squadrons separate from each other. So I don't have to use my fighters as fighter bait, which is good for me. And I can be more proactive. Alright, so there's a Leningrad over here, a Brooklyn, and a Pensacola. So I think we're going to want to start attacking those. I can probably dive bomb the Pensacola and torpedo the Brooklyn. Let me just put my fighters over here for right now. Let's put them around the Miyako. And let's see here. Dive bombers. Well, let's bring our torpedo bombers over first. because it looks like they're still maneuvering right now. Ooh, Pensacola got a nice little hit there. Let's bring our dive bombers actually over here while we wait for our torpedo bombers. Alright, so maybe something like that, considering she's starting. And then I want my dive bombers back over here, actually. Well, looks like one was scattered and one was not. But we're still going to get, what is that, 5 torpedo hits? That's pretty decent. Alright, and let's follow up with a dive bombing attack on the Pensacola. Here we go. That should be pretty okay if the dive bombers hurry up. And we missed. Alright, so that was not okay. Our fighters are engaging the enemy fighters, or at least the catapult fighters. And now we need to get out of that range. Let's see if we can just knock this one down as well. Let's pop a speed boost. Don't really need it, but we might as well use it. Alright, fighters, get back over here. We don't really need you being shot down. So I could actually bring him over here. That might be best for him. Torpedo bombers are back up soon. Dive bombers as well. Let's see what our fighter is doing. We have 1 complete squadron left. We did lose 3 fighters so far. But let's see what we can do against this carrier now that we are kind of in a position for air superiority. Alright, so 3v3. Alright, so let's go around those. That's a lot of ships close together. Is there really not any collisions? I mean, there's going to be if that keeps up. Okay, let's bring our torpedo bombers over here. Dive bombers are out. Let's see if we can finish. Ooh, looks like the Pensacola actually went down already. So let's just use our torpedo bombers first, and then we can use our dive bombers in case we need them. I'm not quite sure which way I want to torpedo her from, actually. I think that might be decent. Let's try that. Yep, that actually looks really good. And all of them hit, and we got ourselves a kill. Alright, so our dive bombers are going to go have fun with the carrier over here. And our fighters were shot down. But we'll launch them back out in a moment. I'm trying to shoot down a couple of these other fighters, but that's fine. Hey, we actually got one. Awesome. I do have a full AA build on the ship as well. Alright, dive bombers. Let's attack from astern. Just gonna mop up that one last fighter. There we go. Fighters go after the torpedo bomber. And let's see what kind of damage we can get with our 3 remaining dive bombers since 2 were shot down. 3 hits and a fire. I will take that. Absolutely I will. What are our fighters doing? Mopping up some torpedo bombers. I'll take it. Alright, get out of anti-aircraft range. Let's go take on these fighters over here. And let's see if we can finish up the carrier with our torpedo aircraft. If not, that's fine. Our dive bombers will be ready soon enough anyways. But we're definitely going to get some torpedo hits out of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, she's gone. Alright, cool. And there are a few fighters to mop up. That's fine. We're going to head back towards here. Looks like the Akatsuki is almost sunk. Ooh, actually there's dive bombers coming in. We need to engage those. And let's get our speed boost activated. Looks like the Akatsuki is, yep, just about to go down. Alright, so let's see how we did. That actually wasn't a terrible game. 101,000 damage, 2 ships sunk, 20 torpedo hits, 3 bomb hits, 14 aircraft shot down, 1 fire, 3 floodings, for 5,400 base XP. She is a free XP ship, or grinding ship, so we were able to get 7,400 free XP. And we did 6,500 damage in fires and floodings, 88,000 damage in torpedoes, and 6,000 damage in bombs. We didn't really shoot a lot of targets, but we were able to get quite a bit of damage on each of the targets that we did attack. So I did enjoy having the 2 squadrons of fighters, or at least the 6 fighters. However, like I said, you only get 1 more fighter and you lose 3 dive bombers. So you get a lot more offensive capability for not that much of an impact. So I would still go with the second layout. However, both work, as you can quite clearly see. And yeah, that'll wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And join me tomorrow while we go over the second air layout for Graf Zeppelin. So again, thank you and take care.